Давай. Делаем. Скорость. 10 секунд еще. Делаем. 5 секунд.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard fight. Honestly, it's gonna be. I saw his fight against Bilal. He's good, man. He's good. When he beginning fighting in UFC, he had problem with the wrestling, but now he's improved because I see he training a lot with the wrestlers, with the grapplers, and that's why he's a champion right now, and he's good everywhere.
Islam Makhachev has officially entered the training camp for his fight against Jack Della Maddalena in the upcoming November card. The fans are excited to see the Dagestani superstar returning to the cage after a gap of almost 10 months, and that too for the second belt.
Promise us. Be quiet, please. I think the manager. He upset because I give information. But this is his deal with UFC. I don't deal with UFC. This is his problem. But we have deal with them. He's gonna fight in Madison Square Garden, and they say yes.
Chael Sonnen is excited to see Islam Makhachev preparing for a high-profile fight expected to take place in New York against Jack Della Maddalena. He mentioned that people might be underestimating how competitive the matchup actually was. While Islam often got the spotlight and respect, being seen as one of the biggest Muslim sports figures. Chael pointed out that it was actually Jack who was facing the doubt. He found it strange that the champion was the one being questioned, not the challenger.
Islam is headed to Madison Square Garden to fight Jack Della Maddalena, according to Khabib.
We have deal with them. He's gonna fight in Madison Square Garden, and they say yes.
It's a lot closer match than you think it is. We understand Islam. He's the most famous Muslim athlete in the world. He's going for basically a history maker. We don't question him. Jack is the one being questioned. How in the hell you gonna question the guy with the belt?
Chael Sonnen also expressed concern about the risks Islam Makhachev is taking by moving up to welterweight. He noted that if Makhachev loses, returning to lightweight won't be simple now that a new champion holds the belt. At the same time, starting fresh at 170 pounds could be an even harder path. Sonnen suggested that Team Makhachev seems focused on victory, but may not be fully prepared for the consequences if things don't go as planned.
I mean, what an incredibly difficult position to put Islam in if he loses. Now you're going to have a choice. Are you going to run back to 55, which, by the way, isn't the way you left it? There's a new king. Or do you start reclaiming the ladder at 170? It's an interesting question. Not one that I believe Team Islam is considering. I believe they are expecting to win.
On the other hand, Khabib Nurmagomedov revealed he believes Islam Makhachev has about 1 to 2 years left in his fighting career. Speaking at a press conference, Khabib stressed the importance of retiring at the right time, ideally by age 35, before a fighter's prime fades. He warned that staying too long often leads to chasing paydays, absorbing unnecessary damage, and suffering knockouts. Using Makhachev as an example, he said, "It's more honorable to walk away with dignity and start fresh," even joking that becoming an Uber driver would be better than staying in the game too long.
Islam, maybe, my honest opinion, 1.5 to 2 years, because age is gonna be October 34. Nobody gonna be sent. When time comes, they don't ask what's your name. Of course, I finished when I was 32. I don't even begin. I have this situation in my life, that's why. But when you become 35, you need to start doing this. Because leave this sport for young guys. Because when you become 35 and you don't finish, somebody gonna finish you. Why? It's better to finish. Why? After 35, you're never gonna be same. People can talk whatever they want. When you pass your prime, you're gonna fight only for money. Like Allah give you 7 years, for example. You finish 40. And last 5 years, you was fight only for money, but they knock you out 10 times. For what? Go and work Uber driver. It's much better to be still inside the cage.
Meanwhile, Daniel Cormier responds to Khabib's comments about Islam's next fight and highlights how big the upcoming fight is. He says Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena is one of the sport's biggest matchups and will headline the most iconic arena. Cormier sees this as a whole new test for Islam at welterweight. After a long streak of dominant wins, Islam now has the opportunity to make history as a two-division champion. Daniel Cormier said, "Now we have a date for one of the biggest super fights in the sport. Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, headlining the biggest arena in the world. This is a different kind of challenge for Islam at 170 pounds. Since that first bout, it's been dominant performance after dominant performance. Now, he gets the chance to become a two-division champion." Daniel Cormier also believes this is a huge moment for Jack Della Maddalena, a chance to step up and face one of the top fighters in the world. He points out that Islam Makhachev isn't just elite in skill, but also carries a huge reputation and fan base, making this a major opportunity for Jack. Daniel Cormier said, "For Jack Della Maddalena, this is his moment to rise. To face one of the best fighters on the planet, a guy with a massive name and an even bigger following." Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan reflects on how much Islam Makhachev has evolved since their fight. He says, "Today's version of Islam is much more well-rounded, showing greater patience, better energy control, and more confidence in mixing his skills." For Arman, it's not just the physical upgrades, it's the mental and technical growth that really makes Islam stand out now.
How much better do you think Islam's gotten since your debut, where you fought him?
Yeah, he improved his striking, very good. His clinch, his cardio. He used to have bad cardio. His cardio way better. And his experience, of course, the most important thing.
Arman Tsarukyan hints at a possible title fight with Ilia Topuria and says he's still waiting to hear from the UFC. He jokes that maybe Chael Sonnen knows more than he does. Arman believes Ilia is avoiding him because he knows the matchup is risky. He says Topuria would rather chase easier, high-profile fights than defend the belt against someone like him.
I wanna fight for the title. I've been waiting so long, and Chael Sonnen maybe knows something.
And do you know if those conversations about a title fight are ongoing with the UFC?
They didn't tell anything yet to me. So I'm just still waiting, training, and trying to call out Ilya as much as possible.
Yeah, we've seen some of the tweets towards Ilya. They've been funny. I enjoyed the duck video that you did. What do you make of the fact that he says he would rather give up the belt than fight you, that he just don't deserve it, he doesn't want to?
I mean, he feels that he's gonna lose that fight, and it's better to give the belt and then go up or wait when what happened with me, because he knows just I'm a big problem for him, and I'm gonna get his title. He knows that, and he wants to get easy fights with Perry or Gage or with someone, just make money and do defend. But with me, it's gonna be hard for him.
Moreover, Chael Sonnen shared his thoughts on what might be next for Ilia Topuria and strongly believed the UFC was planning to match him up with Arman Tsarukyan. He didn't present it as a rumor, but spoke as if it were already in motion. He explained that Topuria has a habit of turning down fights publicly before later agreeing to them, so he wasn't surprised by the situation. When asked how he knew all this, Chael pointed to his friendship with Arman's wrestling coach, saying he had reliable details from someone close to the team.
Outside of illness or even if I'm breaking news to you, I'm not sharing my opinion. I'm sharing a fact with you. It's Arman versus Ilya. That is 100% the plan.
What makes you so confident, 100% sure it's going to be Arman Tsarukyan getting the shot? I've said that, I'm pretty sure I said I'd eat that hat behind me if his next fight was for a title, just because it seems so grim, Chael.
Sure.
What has changed?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, first off, I'm obviously coming to you with information, whether I should have or I shouldn't. Secondly, I was the best man in his wedding. His name's Daryl Christian, and he's the wrestling coach of Arman Tsarukyan. Third, I just spoke to Coach Cal. I wanted to come out and I wanted to film Chimaev training, and it turns out that Tsarukyan's in the room.
Chael Sonnen believes Ilia Topuria's recent comments clearly hint that a fight with Arman Tsarukyan is in the works. He explains that when Ilia publicly says he doesn't want a fight, it's usually the first sign that the matchup is actually happening, a pattern fans have seen before. According to Chael, top fighters often have small habits, whether it's in their technique or in how they build hype. Just like some fighters give away their next move with a tiny tell, Ilia tends to start his fight build-up by denying it. Sonnen points out that the only opponent Ilia immediately agrees to fight is Paddy Pimblett.
A bigger tell also was what Ilya did a week ago, which is said, I don't want to fight. And the greats always, they don't even know they have it. They don't even, coaches will break him down. It's the same with technique. A coach will have to break, hey, he slips here before he throws hook. Chuck Liddell had a big thing that he would blink before he threw punches. I'm just sharing, like, everybody has something that gets them going. Your job is to go find out what it is, but it's not any different in promotion. Ilya's first move for doing a fight is to deny the fight. The only person that he's ever openly said, I'll fight, is Patty. Everybody else that he's getting ready to fight, he denies. It's just his approach. Anderson had one.
Chael Sonnen compares Ilia Toporia's approach to Anderson Silva's old fight promotion tactics. He explains that Anderson used to start by rejecting the fight, then agree to it after some time, and later let news of an injury slip out to stir down. In the end, he would clear everything up and confirm the fight was happening. Chael says Ilia seems to follow that same routine, whether he's aware of it or not.
Anderson would always deny the fight. He'd let that run for about 2 weeks. He would then accept the fight. He would let that run for about a month. He would then slip an injury report to the media. Where you think the fight is off, it's not going to happen. He'd get his run out of that, and then he'd come out and tell everybody I'm fine and it's on. I'm only sharing, that was his system. 100% of his fights, he built the same way. Ilya is not any different whether he knows it about himself or not. But Ilya's first move when he's going to fight a guy, aside from Patty, is to say, I'm not fighting the guy.
On the other hand, Islam vs. JDM fight has grabbed the attention of most of the UFC fans and pros. Islam Dilatov shares his take on the matchup and cautions fans not to assume it will be an easy fight. He admits that while Makhachev probably has the tools to win, the challenge is far more serious than people think. Dilatov points out that Jack Della Maddalena brings real danger, especially with his striking and size at welterweight. He adds that Makhachev won't have the usual physical edge he enjoyed at lightweight and will need to depend on strategy and high-level grappling to get the job done.
I think a lot of people think that it's going to be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think Islam going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks. Because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, you know, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better ground game. I think
Gilbert Burns supports Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight and likes the idea of him fighting Jack Della Maddalena. He thinks 170 is a better fit for Islam considering how hard the lightweight cut has been. While he respects Makhachev as the top pound-for-pound fighter, Burns warns the fight with JDM might be a lot closer than people expect. He points out Jack's high-level training partners like Volkanovski and Craig Jones is a big part of his preparation. Though Burns hasn't fully analyzed the matchup, he sees it as a very competitive fight.
Islam is working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proven himself. He's number 1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think, and JDM has a clear shot.
However, Javier Mendez says Jack Della Maddalena could give Islam Makhachev a unique challenge compared to past opponents. Rather than focusing on Jack's record, he points out how well Jack mixes things up and stays unpredictable. Mendez notes that Jack builds his attacks with smart timing and body shots, not just chasing knockouts. He adds that Islam's team won't approach this as a simple takedown fight. They'll have to stay alert, study Jack's movement, and create openings instead of waiting for them.
I think what makes JDM so dangerous, number one, he's unbeaten for quite a while. Yep. He's had quite a long win streak, and the fact that this guy mixes it up extremely well. He goes to the body, to the head. He doesn't just stick head hunting. He mixes it all up. He goes body, punch, boom, and then also a kick comes. And with him, his takedown defense is really, really good also. So we are not in a situation where we can think, we're going to go to the ground and no, we got to see what he's going to give us. And we have to we're going to have to make him give us something, because I don't know if he's going to. He's really that good.
Javier Mendez sees this as a top-level battle between two elite fighters, but believes Islam Makhachev's championship mindset will give him the edge. He points out that Jack Della Maddalena hasn't faced anyone with Islam's combination of intelligence, timing, and calm under pressure. Mendez isn't worried about the move to welterweight either, saying Islam has spent years training with bigger athletes and will hold his own physically. He expects a fast, technical fight that brings out the best in both.
Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Furthermore, Luke Rockhold says the matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena is both tough and exciting. He names Islam, Topuria, and JDM as his current favorite fighters. While Jack isn't weak in wrestling, Rockhold points out Islam's lifetime of grappling gives him a clear edge. He also mentions Jack's size could be a factor, depending on how Islam handles the jump to welterweight. After training with him in the past, Rockhold notices Islam looks bigger now and is curious how he'll adjust.
Do you see him beating JDM to win that welterweight title?
That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. I think those are my three favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. He's fun to watch. So, that's going to be a great fight. He's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, he's definitely grown. We'll see how he carries the weight.
Stephen Thompson feels Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight could bring serious challenges due to the division's size and strength. He points out that many welterweights cut from over 205 pounds, which could make things harder for Islam. While Jack Della Maddalena might be slightly taller, Thompson believes overall power is what really matters. He respects Islam's grappling but notes Jack has already faced strong wrestlers like Bilal Muhammad. Thompson thinks the fight would be tough for Islam and hopes the UFC books it.
I don't know, man. When you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I've faced would walk around at that weight. I think the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JDM might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler, but like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division, Bilal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
Meanwhile, Robert Whitaker points out that Jack Della Maddalena's strength and clean grappling could pose serious problems for Islam Makhachev. He says Jack's boxing, especially his body shots, might break Islam's flow and make him think twice about shooting for takedowns. According to Whitaker, that kind of pressure could swing the fight in Jack's favor.
Why does JDM beat Islam in your opinion?
I can see the fight playing out very much like it did with Volk, but Jack's bigger. He's got a different frame. He's a hard dude to try and hold down. I think his jiu-jitsu is very underrated. He has good jiu-jitsu.
Who give him?
Not to mention, Jack has really good hand. If he can works the body, which makes it harder to shoot on, to give Islam trouble.
Robert Whitaker shares his view on Islam Makhachev moving to welterweight and thinks the change could actually help him. He says the weight cut to 155 has been tough in Islam and believes his strength might carry over well to 170. Comparing it to Ilia Toporia's jump in weight, Whitaker calls it the million-dollar question, with everyone curious to see how Islam performs in a bigger division.
Do you think it could kind of have a similar effect to you where he might even be able to perform a little bit better a weight class up?
Maybe. It's I guess that's the million-dollar question. That's the question everybody's asking. And that's kind of the question. It's the same situation as Topuria as well. How good is Topuria? But what's he going to look like up weight division? Same with Islam. By all reports though, the weight cut was really hard for him, like really, really hard. He's super strong for that weight division, which must translate well to moving up, making it a little bit easy cut. Maybe he gets a little bigger. It's that's the million-dollar question. Everybody's asking the same thing.
Robert Whitaker also admits it's hard to predict how Islam Makhachev will do at welterweight, since moving up a division always adds uncertainty. He explains that both the physical and tactical aspects can change a lot. Still, he feels confident in Islam's abilities, saying Makhachev can do everything Bilal Muhammad does, but with greater skill.
But Islam's kind of a bit of a different animal when it comes to the type of wrestling that he implements, right?
Definitely. But like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, that's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Bilal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Former MMA fighter Dan Hardy praises Jack Della Maddalena's talent and sees his potential, but he isn't sure if Jack can truly take over the deep welterweight division. He also questions how well Islam Makhachev will adjust to fighting at 170 pounds. While he respects Islam's dominance at lightweight, Hardy is concerned about how he'll deal with the size and cardio challenges that come with longer fights in a heavier division.
I think Della Madalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Bilal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier and, potentially gas himself out because he'd be stepping straight into a 5-round fight, wouldn't he?
That wraps up everything from today's video. Let us know your thoughts and predictions on this matchup in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates on this thrilling showdown.